Welcome, everyone. Enoch calls it Turn Up Tuesday. Yes. I love it. I love it. It is so good to be in your presence this morning. It really is. How does your garden grow? I know I touched on it yesterday, but it has more than one connotation to it. How does your garden grow? We don't know how it grows, we just know that it does. And the other one, how is it growing? How are your changes taking place in your life? How is your garden being cultivated? Are we taking the time? I know, because I won't keep you long this morning. I know that sometimes we go through things and we think to ourselves, well, this is really hard. Like, how am I supposed to get through, right? We think that. But the reminder is this: the problem is not telling you that you are good. The problem is not telling you that you are bad. The problem is not even telling you that you are indifferent. The problem is showing you what your mind is on and how your mind is on it. That's what the problem is showing you. The problem is showing you what your mind is on and how it's on it, that thing. So remember, the problem is not a judgment. It is not a punishment. It's not a reward. It's showing you. And it's always asking, do you want to be here? Do you like this problem? That's all it's asking. And it's doing so in the kindest of fashions. Because when you see the problem, when you see and you identify the problem or the type of weed that is growing in the garden, as soon as you see it, you know how to deal with it. It's no longer there as a thing to overwhelm you, right? It's no longer there as a thing to overwhelm you once you see it. This is the key part. Because when we have a problem, sometimes we sit and we rock and we cry about it, which is perfectly fine because we're human and we've been programmed to do it that way. But remember, we have the power to override our programming if we deem it unsatisfactory. How do you know you have the power to override? Go back to your mirror neurons. If you see a smiling, you scoff at it. Or if you see somebody who's wealthy, you want money in your life, but you're looking at someone with money and you go, how'd they get that? What kind of drugs they selling? You're judging the situation. But you've just overridden the situation. Allow the thing that you are looking at, so long as you deem it a positive thing or a helpful thing, allow yourself to be moved by it, because that's what happens naturally. You'll be moved by it. It's the same thing as if you come upon an argument. That argument may or may not move you in a particular way. And if it does, you've just overridden your good sense to say, ooh, not my business. Right? So remember, we have the power to override a situation. So how is your garden growing? Are you doing what you said you want to do? Or have you given in because you think it is too hard? These are the things I hear all the time. Angela, I've been trying. I don't want you to try. The law is not asking you to try. It is asking you, where are you? What are you doing? Do you like it? No. Well, then where would you prefer to be and what would you prefer to be doing? List those things. And I know sometimes they are challenging. But if you allow the sensation of the, what would it be like if I overcame this problem? What if this was a thing of the past for me? How would I feel? If you allow that sensation to overtake you, if you allow it to move you, you would notice that the change happens very quickly. Serious. Allow it. Allow yourself to indulge in this question. What would it be like if? Allow yourself to be immersed in that answer. Remember, you're not answering the question because you want it to be true. You're answering that question to get the sensation. You're seeking the correspondence. As within, so without. So as above, so below. The image you hold in your mind, what would it be like if I was no longer in this predicament? Or what would it be like if I had what I wanted? Entertain that, because it will conjure up a sensation in your body. And that sensation in your body, right, is going to tell you that, well, yeah, we can do this. This feels good, doesn't it? Or you might hear, please, that's not possible. Where now you can remind yourself, so long as you hold an image, you can recreate it. What does that mean for your garden? As long as you plant the seed in your garden and you nurture it, you will bear fruit or vegetable, depending on what you planted. So that's when I say to you, allow yourself to be immersed in the, what would it be like if? Allow that sensation to rise and to just fully overtake you, because it is possible. So long as you plant the seed, you will get the harvest. If you don't plant the seed, you cannot get a harvest. So is the harvest possible? Plant the seed. And that's what makes it possible. So how do you plant the seed in your mind? The image. The image. I read somewhere yesterday that people should lose the ability to speak. We should be more like the animals. We shouldn't be able to speak. That's what I read yesterday. And I thought to myself, it does bear merit, but because if that's the case, then you would have to practice the art of projecting your image, of conjuring up an image. But you see, we have these senses because we have a body. We have senses, we have a body. So words help to bring about an image. It is always going to end with an image. It doesn't matter how you start, whether you speak, it always will end with the image, because it will always go back to mentalism. Right? So if you can't conjure up the image on your own, where can you find the image? It's there. It's somewhere. There's 8 billion people on the planet. Somebody's seen it. Find the image. And then, how does it make you feel when you say, what would it be like if? When you go through this exercise, I know some people say it feels like you're pretending. No, remember, you're not pretending. You are conjuring up an image. You are planting a seed. Look at any great piece of advertising. What does that piece of advertising get you to do? It gets you to ask yourself, what would it be like if this happen to you. It says, imagine. That's what it tells you. Any great piece of marketing will cause you to say, imagine. And what are you doing when you imagine? You're conjuring up an image and you're putting yourself in it. How do you know you're putting yourself in it? Your body, your sensations in your body. That's how we cultivate our minds, by becoming deliberate in the images that we allow ourselves to participate in. You are not daydreaming. You're not pretending. You are planting seeds. And you know as well as I do, if you plant that seed, it will grow. Now, here's the beauty. The garden relies upon the seasons. Your mind, you can create the season. You can create the season in your mind. How so? Well, perhaps if you're bored or you're lonely or you're sad, that's a season. Yes? But you can talk yourself out of it and into another. You can revise your mental season so that it is always an optimal time for us to plant. This is the key. This is why when the law of vibration says everything moves, nothing is standing still, it also means that thought that you have in your mind, that worry that you have in your mind, you can change the season. Right away, you can change the season. How do you do it naturally, in a way that is all yours? Is it a song? Is it a story? Is it the smelling of flowers? What is it that causes you to change your season in your mind right away? Then you go with that thing because that's who you are. That's the way you've conditioned yourself to respond. Right? So the time to plant mentally is always available to us. We don't have to wait to plant mentally. In the physical, we do. Winter, spring, summer, fall. Now is the time to be planting your garlic bulbs if you're doing them outdoors. Well, in our climate. See, so we have to wait for that rhythm. But mentally, the moment you entertain, what would it be like if you're asking yourself a question? When you ask a question, it is answered. You know this as well as I do, because you do it all the time. We do it all the time. Pay attention to yourself and you'll see that you are doing it. Then you begin to practice planting mentally, deliberately, meaning on command. You say, you know what? I want to create this. And you get in your mind and you say, what would it be like? What would it be like? And you start to go through all the scenarios of what it would be like. And all those scenarios will cause your body to respond. You choose the sensation that is most favorable, that feels the best, because that's the one that's going to be the easiest to maintain. That's the one that's easiest to maintain. Choose the one, because that's why we go through the scenarios, Which one feels more realistic to you? Or as Neville says, which one takes on the tones of reality more? And then that short scene, he says, play it over and over and over again. Why? Because you're getting your body primed. Literally speaking, the more you indulge in that sensation, The faster your body says, oh, this is what we're doing, done. And it begins to be easier to sustain that sensation so that you can be in that state of mind or that attitude all day, every day. And the funny thing is, when you allow yourself to be in that frame of mind, oh, listen to the words. Frame. What's in a frame? An image. When you allow yourself to remain in that frame of mind, the sensation corresponds. And then your conversations, the inner conversations, the one you have with yourself, they begin to match that image. And you find yourself not waiting for something, but you find yourself living it now. And you find yourself living it now by way of your attitude. How so? Because when you physically plant, what do? You prep. If you've planted peaches, you say, girl, I got to do all of this canning. What do? You go out, you make sure that your cans are ready. You've got lids that will seal tight. You're not waiting for the harvest. You're prepping. You are preparing. Because why would you prepare? You prepare because you know the harvest is inevitable. And because you know it is inevitable, you want to be ready. That is the difference. That's why we don't wait. When you're waiting, it says, well, it may or it may not show up. I'm not sure. That's what you're saying when you're waiting. You're hoping for the best. Instead, what is the preparation? What is the behavior mentally that you would be doing? What is the inner conversation that you would be having? What is the attitude that you would be living out? All of that is the preparation of the reaping of your harvest, because you know it is coming. And because you know it is coming, something else also happens. You get excited. Because then I use peaches because now you go and you find more recipes. Ooh, what can I do with peaches? I know I can do peaches and cream. I can do a peach cobbler. What can I do with peaches? And you go and you look for the recipes. And those recipes that you find confirm that your harvest is inevitable, because it's all the things you're going to do with your peaches. So you see, you're not waiting for them to come in because you already know they're on the way. You already know, so you don't have to wait. You don't have to wait. Do you need workers to help with the harvesting of the peaches? Well, then you jot down all the things required. Those are the things physically required, but they'll show up on their own. Why will they show up on their own? Because mentally, you have the image. And in order for that image to be recreated on the outside, it comes together. So all of the necessary factors and components that are required show up in your world. They don't show up by coincidence. They don't show up randomly or haphazardly. They show up by design. You are the one holding that framed image in your mind. How else will you know what you're looking at when you see it? In other words, how else will you know the harvest? Because you have the image that matches. That's how you know. That's why you don't relinquish the image. You don't relinquish the image by doing, man, this thing is taking real long. Am I doing it right? I'm scared. What if, what if they laugh at me? Well, then remember the bamboo farmer. Remember that the bamboo farmer had to water a quote unquote empty field for 4 years. And you know that his neighbors made fun of him. Watering a field that was empty for 4 years. Remember, that's what he did. And it looked on the outside, it looked as if he was nuts. That's all it looked like. That's all it looked like. But what was he certain of? He was certain of the seed that he planted. And so he knew, well, I planted this, so I better take care of them. And so that's what he did. Why? Because it wasn't just about an empty field. He had things to do with that bamboo. He had things to do. So all those things in his mind were already done. So today I know, I know perhaps we may have been struggling with a particular attitude that we live with. Perhaps we've been struggling with trying to become an entrepreneur instead of an employee. Perhaps we've been wanting to be booed up. Whatever it is, have you planted the seed? What would it be like if I had this lifestyle of freedom? What would it look like? What would it be like to get up in the morning, living my lifestyle of freedom? I get up when I want. I don't even set an alarm. I just get up. I know what I'm going to be doing, and I just do it. And I'm creative. What? You see? Then you begin to answer that question in its entirety. Go as deep as possible with answering that question. What would it be like if? And remember the reason why you are asking the question. One, you're asking the question because ask and you shall receive. You'll get the answer. Two, you're getting the sensation of it in your body. Yes, that's what you're doing. You're not waiting for something. You are telling your body, hey, this is what it would be like. And the thing about the body is, because scientists will tell you, the body doesn't know the difference between the past and the present or the future. You know why the body doesn't know? The body only knows what you tell it to right there, right then. And so it does it. So the more you tell your body the same thing the same way every time, you've programmed it. And what did you program it for? You programmed it to live that way. So the thing that is in your frame of mind, frame holds an image. That's the thing you've said to your body, this is how we live now. So your body rewires itself. Why? Because of the law of correspondence. The thing, the image in the mind, because we have a physical body, the body has to say yay or nay. Because if the image in your mind is what you're holding on to, the body corresponds and says, yeah, we're doing this. But if you contradict yourself, the strongest sensation that is already held in the body with that image, that's where doubt comes in. Doubt, again, is simply your body telling you, you already believe something else. Do you want to change what you currently believe? That's what doubt is telling you. It's telling you, you believe this, and you'll feel it. You'll feel what you believe. And your body says, the image in your mind and this sensation in your body, these two this is what you believe about that image. So if I say a red, delicious apple, that's the image I want you to have in your mind. And if I say to you, it tastes like a grapefruit, your body says, whoa, heifer, no, it doesn't. Why? Because the red, delicious apple has a crunch and a sweetness to it. Whereas the grapefruit, well, it's a tart, isn't it? So your body is telling you the tart is the grapefruit, not the apple. So that's what it's telling you. So when it tells you that, at the same time it asks you, do you want to change what you believe? That's what doubt is doing. Doubt is not there to vex you. The doubt arises because it is telling you or showing you in your body what you already hold to be true. That's what it's saying to you. Man, it's not even calling you. It's not even saying lies you tell. It's not even saying that to you. It's just saying, according to our previous memory, you actually believe something else. See how gracious it is? The law is gracious. That's why it doesn't judge you. So remember now, what would it be like if you were living your ideal life? And however your body responds is telling you something. So if you confirm it and you say, yeah, this is exactly what it would be like. Now you know she'd be saying all these kinds of things to me. And because you can hear her now. You start living the life that you want. You know there's somebody who's looking over the top of their glasses at you going, girl, how did you manage this? How did you do that? Well, you got to tell me. What's the new thing you're doing? You know we all have someone like that. We do. So that's the kind of explanation you'd have to give. You'd have to say things like, well, let me tell you how I did it. Let me tell you. And you begin to tell that person how you did it. How did you do what? How you brought in your harvest. How you planted your seeds and you brought in your harvest. So when you rehearse that inner conversation, you remember you're not waiting, you're not pretending. You are behaving the way you would. And you're telling your body, this is how we behave now. And your body starts to rewiring in progress. That's what it says, rewiring in progress. And the body rewires itself. Why? Because you're holding on to that feeling now. So it rewires now. And the more persistent and consistent you are in holding the sensation, the rewiring is not interrupted. And then what happens? Harvest time. Which means you begin to live out the experience that you asked the question for. What would it be like if? That is what we are doing on a daily basis. Look at your life and you'll see it. You'll hear those inner conversations you have, whether they are good, bad, or indifferent. That's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, do you see what you're doing? Man, why does this always happen to me? What kind of inner conversation are you having? Remember why you asked that question. Why is it always happening to me? You're asking that question because you're seeking the hidden habit that, trips you up. Because the moment you ask it, it's no longer hidden. It's now obvious. And then you can say, oh, snap. Well, I don't like that anymore. Well, the good news is a habit is something I do the same way every time. So what's that new habit I want to start? And you start doing the new one. Think about this. It looks like you stopped doing the old. It looks like you have stopped doing the old. In actuality, you've started doing the new. Why? How do you know? Because your attention is on the new thing, and that's why you're doing it. If you were stopping doing the old, your attention would be on the old. And if your attention is on the old, well, then we have to continue to do it. That's why you put your attention on the new thing. And you practice it, and you practice it, and you practice it until your body goes, autopilot initiated. That's what you do. You practice that thing until your body says, autopilot initiated. That's what Neville Goddard means when he says it takes on the tones of reality. That's what he's saying. It's second nature. Now, you don't even have to stop to think about it. And because it is second nature, you live from there and you create from there, which means what? Your experiences match that framed image in your mind. That is how we check our garden. Listen, some of us go out with our little pH devices and we make sure the soil is ready. So check your attitude. Is it bitter? Same principle applies. What are you going to plant in bitter soil? Well, nothing much. Think about that. If you're cranky and bitter all the time, what's going to come out of your mouth? Exactly. Only those kinds of seeds, bitter seeds, will come out. And a funny thing also happens. It's on your face, too. It's not a good look, let me tell you. It's not a good look. We've seen these people before. We have. So that is the encouragement today. Let us take a brief moment, shall we, to welcome everyone into the space. Hello, Geck. Hey, Jeff. Oh, Lilith was just here. I wonder, she probably had to take a call. But I see you guys here on Twitter. It is so good to see you on this Turned Up Tuesday. Fanbase. Hey, King Thoy. I don't know if you're busy or not, if you want to just pop in, or if you just want to listen, you just let me know. KZ, Flow Smiles, Oracle Treehouse, My Melanin, Miss McQueen, Zola, Yolanda, I see you. It's good to see you here. Who is on Facebook? We got Indy on Facebook. Hey, girl. Sorry, chicken. We've got Marjorie. We got Mozinga. I'm gonna say that. I'll say that. I'm just scrolling backwards, so when I come back, Mozinga, I can read it because it's beautiful. The Better Man. Sugar Visions. Oh, Cyber. Hello. I haven't seen you in a couple days. Joaquin, it is excellent to see you today. I'm gonna make a shea butter. A not. L. Hello. Sonia. So let's go back. Yes, you will know them by their fruits, Cyber. You imagined where you are. It's just as easy to imagine something else rather than sustaining your current circumstances. But that's it. It doesn't matter the circumstance that you're sustaining. The question is, do you like it? And remember, you are sustaining the current circumstance. Whatever's going on, you're holding it there. Remember, we have the power to override. You're holding it there. Mind over matter. You're holding it there. And because you're holding it there, you know that you're capable of holding an image. So if you don't like the one you're looking at, swap out that image for another one, because you know if you hold the new image, you'll bring about a circumstance, won't you? So beautifully said, Cyber. Uh Mozinga's asking, how can you link this phrase to the law? I got what I wanted and some more that I didn't even imagine. Is this possible to experience something we didn't imagine? Well, here's the thing, cause and effect. The image that you were holding, right, has more than one way of expressing itself, but always along the same polarity. So if the polarity is freedom, right, all of the things that you know about freedom show up. But because you know those things, you might not know the other things, but here it is. You have experienced it somewhere in your life. It is in the subconscious mind of what freedom represents to you. It's there already. 8 billion people on the planet, you know somebody's already shown you what freedom looks like. And so it's drawn from out of you. And that's how come it looks like, well, I didn't imagine that. How'd this happen? This is why sometimes if we jump to conclusions, the worst case scenario, sometimes it can be worse than we say, I would never imagine that. Nah, you might not have, but it's in the subconscious mind already. So that's why sometimes we say things like, wow, that was more than I had anticipated. Because it's already in the subconscious mind. But that's it, Marjorie. If it be long, just wait, because it is sure. Again, the peach trees blossom, you understand? And the bees, they come in, bzz, 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 they come in. Take your time and listen, enjoy the process. How so? Every time you go out into your orchard because you've planted whatever fruit trees you've planted and you hear the bees buzzing, walk with your EpiPen if you're anaphylactic. I have to say that. But you already know. The bees are there and the little birds are in the trees and they're singing. Is that not beautiful? Because come harvest time and you're out there and you're busy plucking peaches, you're not going to see the bees. You're not going to hear the birds as much because you're out there, you're causing a ruckus. They can't land. But enjoy the sound of the bees, the chirps and the songs of the birds as you go. Because you know that they are the ebb. Watch the rhythm. They are the ebb. They are doing their job so that come harvest time you can flow with the plucking of the peaches. The better man says, as I practice the law, I see there are countless times I fail to apply it. So I just got to keep practicing it till it becomes, yes, until it becomes your nature. That's all we're doing, We just keep practicing a thing until it becomes second nature. That's all we're ever doing. If you pay attention to yourself, you'll see it. Yes. Listen, our resident etymologist is telling us that doubt comes from two. The root. There's two things. Two things. One that you want and the thing that tells you already how you feel about the thing. Two things. And exactly, it's giving you a choice. It's asking you by way of polarity, hey, girl, you want this one or you want that one? Always. The endorphin, like Morpheus, your own body morphin. Yes. Change it. Oh, you are awesome. The dream. Yes. Mozinga put it well. He says, two minds undecided between two things. And you get to choose Intestine equals brain. This is why it's so beautiful. Marjorie says those inner conversations are very sneaky. She says now she catches them quick. And she tells them to get thee behind me, right? Because that's what we do. Well, yes, sometimes the blockages that come up aren't actually there to push you more into what you want. Yes. Because sometimes when you see something that is contrary, you're reinforcing yourself. You say, oh, that's right. I'm not over there anymore. I'm over here. Because if you think about it, the old way has its harvest also. But if you don't pluck them, because you see it, you're like, oh man, I did do that, didn't I? I did do that. But that's not your cue to beat yourself up because you did something foolish. What's the wise thing you want to do now? Well, do the wise thing. It'll help you get through the foolish. Of course it will. These are the things, right? Let me go over here and see if any messages are in Telegram. No, I think we're good. That is what you've done. That's what you've done. Hey, Brian. Marjorie, I just looked and I saw. Thank you. I'm not sure what happened there, but I'm back now. That part's on Twitter. Whatever part you guys just missed is on Twitter. Um, remember that today, that we are the caretakers of our gardens, our mental gardens, as well as our physical gardens. The same way this is why the law of correspondence is beautiful. As above, so below. The same, and if you don't know how to do it above, do it below. And you'll see how you did it above. How? If you know that you'll go out into the garden, right? And you make sure there's no weeds growing among your plants. And you get out there and you water them. You fertilize them. You talk to them. Plants don't have ears, but they feel. They feel vibration. And because they feel the vibration, science has shown it. Talk to your plants. The plants that you talk to thrive, depending on how you talk to them. They thrive. You know the Japanese scientist, right? With the water and the water crystals. And sometimes all he would do is write a word. But you see, it's not the word, it is the intent behind the writing of the word, the vibration behind that word. And he wrote it on the glass. They also did the experiment with cooked rice. The rice, they just wrote the word love and happiness, and, sweet things, taped it to the glass. And that cooked rice, it didn't grow any mold at all. But the rice, they wrote, hey, oh, who are you? You suck, blah, blah, blah. Moldy rice. So now, imagine, if you will, because your body is physical. You mentally are saying things to yourself. When I said to you, don't speak ill, I wasn't kidding. Don't speak illness into your body. Speak health into it. How? What would it be like if my body was healthy? How would I feel? And you begin to conjure up an image of what that would be like. Now that's you writing words of sweetness. You're whispering sweet nothings to your body. You want somebody to come along and whisper sweet nothings to you. Well, you better start whispering sweet nothings to your own body. Things like, you go, girl. Who's doing it? I'm doing it. Who's doing it? I'm doing it. You cheer yourself on. Because you are polarized now in the direction of where you say you're going and your success. And the old man begins to wither and die. Because you're not paying him no attention, so he leaves. And what do we do sometimes? We say, wait, don't leave me. Oh, come now, that's what you want? It's not what you want in your life. Because I have to say this, because Raul just popped into the room, and I had to say that name because it is lovely. Sorry. But that's the point today. You are tending the most fertile soil in your mind with your thoughts and your words, and your actions are going to show you how your garden grows. So again, if you don't know how to speak to your garden, if you do not know how to speak to your garden, remember, a kind word goes a very long way. And the scientist, Emoto, the scientist is showing you that your body is 70 or more % water. So the way you speak to that glass of water or to that bowl of cooked rice will either cause it to maintain its health or cause it to rot. So speak to yourself in the most desirable way. You speak to yourself and you say things like, what would it be like if? What would it be like if I were living my ideal life? Well, I'd get up like this in the morning. I'd speak to people like this. I'd be doing this. And as you do that, you are feeding, you are fertilizing, you are pruning the garden of your mind. The same way you would prune your garden out back. You take great care with the things you've planted because you want to get the best harvest from the soil. Well, then, the law of correspondence tells us as above, so below. So if you are going to nurture that soil out in the yard, then nurture the soil between the ears in the same fashion, with kindness and with care, so that you will know exactly how your garden is growing. Not just physically, but mentally you will know. Mentally you will know. And so that is what I want to say to you on this lovely Turned Up Tuesday. That's what Enoch called it, so that's what I'm going to call it. Turned Up Tuesday. I don't know what turn up means, but I do know when you turn up the stereo. If that song is good, you'll move in the right way. So it's Turned Up Tuesday. Let me find the bowl. Yeah, Lilith is over here giving me laugh emojis. I know, sometimes I'm a little bit dramatic, but that only helps you to remember. Let me pull up the bowl. Does anybody have a quick thing to say before I pull up the bowl? As I turn up the volume as well. Normally on YouTube, the bowl is much more crisp, but I don't want you to leave to go to YouTube. I can find a way of playing it. Shea butter, baby. Let me get the bowl. Thank you all for being here on such a lovely, lovely Tuesday. It is always a privilege and a pleasure to spend time with you. It is. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Twitter. Geck, Jeff, Lilith, Elle was just there. I love you all, and I will see you soon. Oh yes, 9:45 p.m. Tonight we play the bowl, but we play it live. 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll see you tonight. Twitter. Indeed. Twitter is closed. YouTube. Brian, darling. It's always good to see you. Marjorie, the better man. Mo Zinga. Sugar Visions. The others are gone. There's no more comments. Thank you all for being here on YouTube. Cyber. Everybody who was here. Much love to you all. YouTube. Peace.